So, hello everyone. My name is Lawrence. I'm from the Center for Holistic Teaching and Learning at Hong Kong Baptist University. Today, I'm going to give a presentation on the topic of collections of playing and learning, how students could succeed in diverse virtual teams. So, in this slide, you can see the outlines of today's presentation. I'll first introduce our university to you, which is Hong Kong Baptist University. And then I'll share with you the background and objectives of the CCGame project. Under this project, we have a signature event, which is the eTournament. And I'll talk about the approach that we adopted in the eTournament, as well as the data collection methods, followed by the outcomes and impacts of the eTournament on the participants. The presentation will end with how we're going to move forward with the initiative. So, where is our university? As you can see from the slide, we're actually located in Hong Kong, which is, of course, part of China. And so we are situated at the center of this financial hub, which you can see on the slide. It's here. It's very much center of the city. So just on this slide, you can see some pictures of our campuses. We were established in 1956 with a Christian heritage. At the moment, we got 3 faculties, 4 schools, and 1 academy, which are listed here. So our university offers programs from sub-degree levels to doctoral level, with about 11,500 students taught by about 850 full-time academic or teaching staff. So you can see from this slide, the topic is actually the full name of the project that we are talking about, which is developing multidisciplinary and multicultural competencies through gamifications and challenge-based collaborative learning. So you can see from the logo of the CCGame project here that we got 2 capital letters C. So the first C represents means like the cross-cultural and cross-disciplinary nature of this project, and the second C refers to challenge-based and collaborative. That means like the students have to tackle or handle some challenge-based tasks where they will have to show their collaborative skills with others that they may not know from other countries or other culture, etc. So that's what the 2 Cs means. So about the project is supported by the Hong Kong UGC, the University Grants Committee, via the funding schemes for teaching and learning initiatives. We received the funding of approximately 8.7 million Hong Kong dollars. The Hong Kong Baptist University is the lead institutions of this project, with partners from the City University of Hong Kong, Chinese University of Hong Kong, Hong Kong Polytechnic, as well as an overseas partner, which is the Curtin University, Australia. So we got 2 main objectives for the CCGame projects. We aim to improve student learning and performance by better preparing them to work in multidisciplinary and multicultural team, and as well as motivating them through the deployment of gamifications and challenge-based learning. So we got in here the project website. So if you got time, you may probably go through the details of the project, which are included there. So let's talk about the signature event, which is the highlight of the CCGame project, is the SDG. SDG means the Sustainable Development Goals proposed by the United Nations. So we use the SDGs as the theme, as the main theme of the international eTournament. So I put a brief timeline of the signature event here. So in 2018, we signed an MOU with the UNESCO Hong Kong Association to start our journey of raising students' awareness of the SDGs. We also organized a question creation contest with UNESCO Hong Kong. So like in 2019, we organized the first ever international eTournament featuring the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. In that year, we covered 8 out of the 17 SDGs in the eTournament. So after the first eTournament, we have incorporated several enhancements, modifications to the implementations of the eTournament. So after those enhancements, we launched the second round of the eTournament in 2020. covering the full spectrums of the 17 SDGs of the United Nations. So about the eTournament, we've got three main objectives here. So for the first one, we aim to raise the students' awareness towards the sustainable development goals. And the second objective of the eTournament is we hope to enhance students' intercultural competencies. That means like we hope the students will be able to communicate or work better with others who are from different cultures, because it's actually very important in this era, because the world is getting more connected than ever before, and they will have to just work with people from different countries and cultures. So we hope to improve and enhance their intercultural competencies through the eTournaments here. So of course, they will have to work in virtual teams, and through the exercises or through the competitions, the students will be given opportunities to work collaboratively with others from other countries, from other cultures, or from other disciplines. So that's the three main objectives of the eTournaments here. And so on this slide, you can see the coverage of the eTournaments is actually a geographical coverage of the eTournaments. And probably at the center of the world map, you can see that we got the majority of the participants coming from the Greater China, including mainland, Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan, followed by those from Asia and Oceania. So probably we cover like 5 out of the 7 continents of the whole world. And you can also notice from the figures here. So in the first round of the eTournament in 2019, we got like 243 students coming from 24 home regions of the world. But the number increased significantly in the second run, which we got like 400 something students from 42 home regions or countries in the world. So that's the geographical coverage of the eTournaments. So we actually adopted a two-stage strategise-play approach in the eTournament. But for the first stage, the project main team helped the students to form a team with different cultures, instead of having the students to form their own teams, so as to ensure that each virtual team had sufficient diversity in each of those teams. And so for the first stage, after team formations, each virtual team will have to do several things, including building up their own teams, and then they have to take some trainings on culture, teamwork, and conflict management. They will also have to strategize how to play the eTournament in the next stage, in the second stage. So that's the first stage. So after they have built up their own team and have received different sort of trainings and strategize how to play in the second stage, they'll then just compete with other virtual teams in the eTournament in the second stage. So at the very beginning, each virtual team is given a small territory at the start. So they will be able to expand their territories or upgrade their own territories, or even attack others' territories by answering SDG question directly. So that means like after they have answered an SDG questions directly, they will be given the opportunities to either upgrade or expand or attack others' territories. So we actually adopted an iterative methodology to collect data from the eTournament so as to evaluate our achievement of the 3 main objectives, which are like to raise students' awareness towards the SDGs, to enhance their intercultural competencies, or to boost their collaborative learning skills. So in general, we used several pre and post game questionnaires to collect both qualitative, including students' written comments on the eTournament, as well as quantitative data, such as those from Likert scale surveys. Besides, sharing and focus group interviews were also organized to solicit further comments from the student participants. So for the outcomes and impact, so we also found that like more than 70% of the students had raised their awareness towards the SDGs. The average accuracy rate of answering the SDG-related questions during the eTournament was about 60 to 70%. Among the 17 SDGs covered, students showed the highest average accuracy for the SDGs of responsible consumption and production, which is like the number 12 SDG of the United Nations. Participants in the focus group interview also say that knowing more about the SDG encouraged them to reflect or change their own lifestyle to become a more responsible global citizens of the world. Okay, for intercultural competence, the global perspective inventory, the GPI, mean score went down, meaning that students understood that their intercultural competency was not as high as they had self-evaluated before the eTournament. For the last objectives of the eTournament, which is the collaborative learning skills, we found that there are 3 key factors to building positive team dynamics, which are the students' commitment as team leaders or members, the mutual encouragement among the teammates, the empathy that they show to others. So we also conducted test minings of online discussion notes in accordance to a keyword framework with words grouped under collaboration, personal learning, and problem solving. Students of the top 5 teams spend most of their discussion time on topics related to problem solving, indicating that they had successfully built up their own team and were able to proceed to personal learning of the provided materials and solve the challenges presented to them in the eTournaments. On the contrary, students from those bottom 5 teams spent most of the discussion time on collaboration, reviewing the fact that they were still struggling in the stage of team formation, learning how to collaborate with their teammates, being unable to form an effectively functioning team. Those low performers simply did not have much time left for to study the materials provided. That means like to go through training, and also don't have enough time to solve the problems presented to them, making them a low-ranking team in the competition. It's actually also noteworthy that the total numbers of keywords used by the high-performing teams far exceeded those of the low-performing teams, showing that they were much more engaged or involved in the eTournament, from team building to learning the materials to problem solving. So for this slide, it's actually one of the questions that we used in the post-game questionnaires in both runs of the eTournaments in 2019 and 2020. In general, I enjoyed playing this eTournament, is actually the statement. And from these 2 bar charts, you can see that a much larger proportions of the respondents replied with an agree or strongly agree in 2020 than those responded in 2019. That means like more students from the second round of the eTournament say that they enjoy playing this eTournament. So it's actually very encouraging to see some fruits coming from the eTournaments, because we hope that we change the life of the participating students. And in this slide, we got sharing from Priya, who is from India, who is actually the champion of the SDG question creation contest, and also received the merit from the first round of the eTournaments in 2019. So let's hear what Priya has for us from her sharing.
Before CCGame Project, like any other girl from a lower middle class conservative family, I was restricted in many ways. I was supposed to get married immediately after my undergraduation, after CCGame Project. As I said, I luckily got into this platform where I learned through fun rather than learning with fun. I had an international exposure. It was so proud for me to call myself that I'm globally competent. And it is so wonderful to tell you all that my parents, they're ready to support me in pursuing my higher education.
So that's the sharing of Priya. And for the CCGame project, we're going to move forward with an app like for informing potential or existing participants of the projects about our future activities. We have the SDG app. And we also plan to launch further runs of the SDG eTournaments to promote students' awareness of global issues. In July 2021, we will have an eTournament for tertiary students from around the world. So at the end of this year, we'll also have another eTournament tailored for high school students in the Greater China region. So thank you very much. We have put our contact information here. So if you got any question, please feel free to contact us. So that's the publication list of the CCGame project. And here we got the website as well. Thank you.